Hello and welcome YouTube to a very small commentary channel. I don't specifically upload a particular type of content. I try to be interesting, so there's a lot of variety, and when I upload contents of facts, I try to make sure that my facts are accurate. Now, before I proceed, this is not a conspiracy. Even though I said that from now on I was going to do conspiracy theories, I have just been told something that has horrified me, that has shocked me, and I'm actually very worried. By going on and uploading this, I could get into trouble. It's that serious. First, let me tell you where I live so we can get this into context. I live on the Sunshine Coast. The Sunshine Coast is north of Brisbane in Queensland. It's about 1-2 hour drive, 120 k's north roughly of Brisbane. And if you go north from me, you get to Gympie. Go north of Gympie, you get to Maryborough. Go north of Maryborough, you get to Bundaberg. North of Bundaberg, so this is about the Tropic of Capricorn, I think it is. Rockhampton, yes, the Capricorn coast. So the Tropic of Capricorn runs through. So when you have the equator and you come south, you have Tropic of Capricorn, and there's a little country town called Rockhampton. Now, Rockhampton at one time was the main centre in Queensland for cattle. So if you wanted to buy a good bull, that's where you go. All the best types of cows and bulls, steers, heifers, it's where you go. So it's known as a country town. Just west of there you can get gemstones. There's coal mining. It's quite a gateway to lots of different things. Anyway, this topic isn't about Rockhampton. By the way, I lived in Rockhampton. It's got quite a large population, and it can get, in summer, it can get up to 45, 46 degrees. It's a really dusty, hot, horrible little place to live. Horrible. Anyway, I have a friend, a very wealthy friend. So this friend associates with people up there, not like you and me. Oh, no, I'm just a pleb, you know. I'm very lucky to have her in my life. I'm getting there. I have to be, as I said, very careful what I said. Now, I do not know how long ago this happened, but it's since the pandemic. And before I talk about that, every Australian will tell you that our Indigenous population has a problem with alcohol. The thing is, white man, for the want of a better word, and I'm not being racist here, we've had thousands of years to get our guts and everything used to alcohol. The Aboriginals haven't. They've only been introduced to alcohol since white man settled in Australia. So just keep that in mind. So alcohol is like poison to them. Okay? Keep that in mind. Right, let's get on to the shocking, mind-blowing news. And if this happened in Rockhampton, because I'm into conspiracies, I wonder whether it happened anywhere else in Australia. Now, at one stage, Brisbane, the capital city of Queensland, had quite a lot of Aboriginal population. Where I live on the Sunshine Coast, you'll be lucky if you saw an Aboriginal person. You'll be lucky. Yet, where I live is the Indigenous home, and I should honour and respect the elders of the Gubbi Gubbi people. That's where I live. The Gubbi Gubbi people were around here. They're not here now. But again, that's beside the point. When you get to Bundaberg, remember I said Gympie, Maryborough, Bundaberg? There's, again, not that many Aboriginals. Town, if you know, after Rockhampton, you go Rockhampton, Mackay, Ayr, Townsville. In Townsville, there is a lot of Aboriginals. Just off the coast of Townsville is an island called Palm Island, and just like reserves, what they did to Indians in America is the same sort of thing that Australia tried to do with Aboriginals. So all around Australia we have these special reserves that are just for Aboriginals, okay? Anyway, again, that's not the topic. So I'm talking about what happened in Rockhampton. There's a lot of Aboriginal population in Rockhampton. So what I'm saying is if this happened in Rockhampton, I'm wondering where Aboriginal population is dense in other cities, for example, Alice Springs in Northern Territory, wherever there's wherever Aboriginal population is. I'm wondering, my conspiracy is, did this happen to other places just then Rockhampton? It must have. But why I'm talking about Rockhampton is my wealthy friend is friends with a doctor. And this doctor, get this, is a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. Now, I'm about to blow your mind. In Rockhampton, so if they did this in Rockhampton, and before I tell you about what they did in Rockhampton, the government paid these doctors in Rockhampton $5,000 a month to do this. These doctors told the Aboriginals that if they didn't get, you know what I'm talking about, the jab, their children would be taken off them. And now here is the revolting, horrifying, disgusting thing. If they obeyed and did, they got alcohol as a reward. Now remember, I just told you alcohol's a poison. They were given as a reward for confirming, conforming to what the government wanted, given alcohol. Not only were they pushed into doing something that is against human rights, we've all got free will, we've all got the right to say yes or no to whatever type of medication, vaccination, whatever it is. We've all got the right. And these Aboriginal people were pushed into making or getting their children as I said, I've got to be very careful how I say this. I've already got one warning from YouTube years ago for saying something, and I have to be very careful what I say. But what I'm telling you is the truth. And I said to my wealthy friend, did these doctors have a quota that they had to meet? And she said to me, my friend, yes, they did. But they met their quota easily because there were 4 or 5 doctors in this practice in Rockhampton that were doing this to the Aboriginal people. If you have listened to my video, let's hope it doesn't get taken down. But if you are an Australian, we have to do something about this. You know, as an Australian, what alcohol does. Not only what alcohol does to us, how easy it is to become an alcoholic as a white man, but to reward Aboriginal, our Indigenous people, that if you obey and get, you will be given, and it was apparently a couple of bottles of alcohol. And my friend said to this 7-day Adventist doctor about the alcohol, and do you know what the comeback was? And this is a female doctor. She said, oh yes, but they were only this big. So that would have been like bottles of, spirits or something. This is shameful. So if you've watched my video, can you please, for me, write to your local MP? That's exploiting. That's exploitation of people who, if they didn't do it, they were in fear of having their children taken off them. So they could have been good parents. Nothing wrong with how they were parenting. But if they didn't obey the doctors, and apparently this is not what the doctors, this is what the government told the doctors to say to the Indigenous person. You don't get the jab, your children are taken off you. And your children have to get it too. And as a reward for getting it, here you are, here's some alcohol. I would like to know, I don't know what year this was. Probably, when we were all made for sheep herd. So, we were following the advice of who? I'm not sure if it was then. But as I said, they were getting paid $5,000 a month just to do this. Please pray that I don't get taken down, because this needs to be out there. Share it on Facebook. Share. I am not lying to you. This is dreadful. Please think of what I have said. My mind is just... The government told these doctors in Rockhampton to do this to the Indigenous population. And as I told you, Rockhampton isn't the only place where you can find Aboriginal people. So is this done to them everywhere in Australia? Sorry for the pause. As a white Caucasian woman, I had a right to say yes or no, with no threats. At one stage there was in Queensland this threat that if you weren't allowed on public transport, but that all fell through. But there is no repercussions if I decide, because I'm also getting to the age where it's advisable that I get vaccinated against shingles, because you don't want to get shingles. And if I decide, no, I don't want to be vaccinated, I'll take my chances and get shingles, there's no repercussions for me as a Caucasian woman. But for our Indigenous people to be blackmailed, not only as where they were rewarded with grog, that's racism as well. Not only is it racism, it's a blatant disregard for human rights. I really hope that someone important watches this video, and because I'm a nobody. This channel's a nothing. Please spread this news, because as I said, it's not if it happened in Rockhampton, it happened everywhere in Australia. And I'd really be interested to know which government, whether it was a state, this was a state initiative, or whether it was a federal initiative. If it was state initiative, it was under the Labor government. If it was federal, we were at the time under Liberals, and then after the election we became Labor with Albanese. But before Albanese, it was Liberal. So I don't know whether this is the state is to blame or the federal. So I can't even tell you whether it just happened in Queensland or whether it happened Australia-wide. But I'd be interested to know. And please leave a comment below if you know more than me. Thank you for watching this video. Please spread the news. Please. This is wrong. This is morally wrong. Love, light, and blessings. Be kind to each other. And we are all equal. Every life matters, whether it's brown, yellow, black, or white. We bleed the same and should have the same rights. Thank you. Bye. Gems out.